Let's get started with the day's news. We begin in Asia this morning, where Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is trying to lay the framework of a plan to denuclearize the Korean peninsula. While in Seoul, Secretary Pompeo declared there would be no sanctions relief for North Korea until the country gives up its weapons. Pompeo will now meet with China's president and foreign minister in Beijing before making the trek back home. The annual congressional baseball game takes place tonight at Nationals Park in Washington. House Majority Whip Steve Scalise will be back on the baseball field. It's been 1 year since he was shot and gravely wounded during a congressional team practice. Officials from the National Weather Service will be in Wilkes-Barre Township, Pennsylvania this morning to assess the damage from a powerful storm last night. Local officials believe a tornado swept through the area. The storefronts in a northeast Pennsylvania shopping mall are unrecognizable. Cars and trucks were flipped over and debris crushed other vehicles. Officials in Wilkes-Barre Township say it was one of the worst weather events to ever hit the area. 6 people suffered minor injuries from the storm. And fire crews out west continue to tackle several fast-moving wildfires threatening homes and businesses. The largest one near Durango, Colorado, has already burned more than 27,000 acres and is far from contained. Roughly 30 blazes are currently burning across 9 western states. Back here in Montana, the body of one of the 4 missing bear hunters who vanished into the swollen Selway River last month has been recovered and identified. 22-year-old Reese Rollins of Oregon was one of 4 men who vanished when their SUV ran off a Forest Service road and into the river about 50 miles west of Darby. Rollins' stepsister tells the Idaho Statesman that Forest Service employees had found his body in the river late Tuesday, about 45 miles downstream from where the accident happened on May 21st. 3 other men, 21-year-old Kobe Clark of Bozeman and brothers Raymond and Jesse Ferrari, both in their 20s from New York, are still missing. The search had been called off after a few days by the Idaho County Sheriff because of the difficulty in trying to search the fast-moving river. Special equipment was brought in to pull the truck from the river to prove the men were not trapped inside. 2 others in the outfitter-guided party made it safely to shore. Closer to home, Billings fire crews had their hands full Wednesday after responding to several calls sun up to sundown. The most recent was a business on Moore Lane just south of Laurel Road. The call for Linrich Seamless Siding windows and doors came in around 8:30 last night. Smoke could be seen pouring from the ceiling of the business. As of 10 o'clock last night, firefighters were still trying to knock down the fire, even calling in a mobile air unit. Details on the amount of damage and cause have not been released. Earlier in the evening, flames that ripped through a Billings West End home caused an estimated $40,000 in damages. Smoke and flames could be seen coming from the garage of the home on the 2500 block of Lewis Avenue. Crews had the fire mostly extinguished by 5:30 p.m. and also damaged the homeowner's vehicle. The cause is under investigation. And at the start of the day, a series of early morning fires have been deemed arson. 3 vehicles and a boat went up in flames, all within a couple of blocks of each other. The first call was to a vehicle fire around 4:20 a.m. While responding to that call, a firefighter noticed heavy smoke coming from another location just a block away. By the end of the hour, the department had 4 separate fires on their hands. There were 3 on 10th Avenue North and 1 on North 23rd Street. The combined property damages from the fires is around $75,000. Police are asking anyone with information to call Crime Stoppers at 245-6660. On the city's south side, a neighborhood is still dealing with flood issues from the record flows in the Yellowstone River. City workers checked on the scene Wednesday and say the storm drains are doing the best they can. However, with the high level on the Yellowstone, the water is backing up into the ditches and onto the streets. This is a view of Cambridge Drive Wednesday afternoon between King Avenue East and Interstate 90. According to neighbors, the basements in some of the homes are flooding. The water on the streets also make it difficult to park and walk. One neighbor says this is the worst flooding he's seen in that area in more than 20 years.
The rain actually drained out, but now with the rivers being up so high, it's pushing back all that water back up into our subdivision. Obviously, you got to drive through it, you got to walk through, you can't park on the street. I would say it would probably be Up another 2 feet is where it's been. It's the worst I've ever seen it since the '96 thing.
The city is also in the process of repairing a culvert near Jackson and King Avenue East, but that project is not affecting the area near Cambridge. In court news, we're learning more about the former Miles City science teacher who has been charged with raping a 15-year-old student 6 times. Miles City School Superintendent Keith Campbell says 38-year-old Morgan Pett was placed on paid administrative leave immediately after school administrators learned of the allegation in January of 2017. In a statement, Campbell says he was notified that Pett had inappropriate communication with a student over a weekend, was put on administrative leave Monday, and then resigned about a month later following an investigation. The superintendent says Pett did not appear before Custer County High School students after that. Court documents state the encounters with the teenage girl stopped after Pett's wife found text messages and nude photos of the girl on his computer. Pett was charged in April of 2018 and extradited from Alaska to Custer County this week, where he's held on $500,000 bond. The United States Senate Ag Committee has passed its version of the 2018 Farm Bill. It now moves to the Senate floor, where Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell promises floor time before the 4th of July. Lola Raska, the Executive Vice President of the Montana Grain Growers Association, says she's hopeful the House of Representatives will bring up its version of the Farm Bill again by June 22nd. The House voted down its last version of the bill in May. Once both houses pass versions, they move to conference committee to work out the differences between the two versions. It's a process Montana ag producers are watching closely.
Provides them some certainty, some predictability going forward. Some of the most important programs to our producers are the commodity title, which provides a strong safety net. Crop insurance, very important to our growers. Both of those programs moved forward largely unchanged in the Senate Farm Bill.
The current Farm Bill is set to expire at the end of September. Meanwhile, a district court judge ordered the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services to temporarily stop cuts to the reimbursement rates paid to Montana's nursing and assisted living homes for Medicaid patients. The temporary restraining order filed Wednesday will effectively halt the 2.99% cuts proposed by the Bullock administration that went into effect January 1st and require the state to resume paying the old rate. According to the judge's order, the state will have to pay the old rates for at least the remainder of the state fiscal year 2018, which ends on June 30th. Montana's nursing and assisted living homes had filed suit this week against the cuts, saying DPHHS didn't explain its reason for the cuts or give home operators a chance to meaningfully participate in setting the rates. The new superintendent for Yellowstone National Park is officially introduced, by Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke. Cam Shawley, a graduate of Gardner High School and director of the National Park Service's Midwest region since 2015, will take over the reins of the nation's oldest park in August. Shawley's selection is drawing praise from both the Montana and Wyoming congressional delegations. Shawley's career also includes helping establish the Regional Office of American Indian Affairs and serving as Associate Director for Visitor and Resource Protection at NPS headquarters. Shawley has a master's degree in environmental management from Duke University. He and his wife Jill have a high school-age son. And by the way, Shawley is the brother of former Q2 morning anchor Alex Tyson, who serves as Executive Director of Visit Billings at the Billings Chamber of Commerce.